How are we? Right, crowdfunding. What would I do? Let's say, what would I do if I were crowdfunded to promote this revelation to the people, right? So in this video there will be disclosed a little number on the bottom that is the address of the bank in New Zealand that I use, so you can access the account and send the money, so it's pretty clear from my end that this is the number. There is a SWIFT code for international banking, and so what would I do? What would I do? Let's say lots of money came in and I was able to proceed with this full time. I would it would enable to overcome logistics problems, right? To get around the place, to put it to people directly, specific people that are in a position of making decisions about that influence a lot of people's lives. Okay, so to be able to go around and have direct contact with these types of people, right, and to make them aware of the existence of an option as per how to perceive problems, and that leads to how solutions may be perceived. Because at the moment, while everyone thinks anxiety is wisdom, actually they're heavily actually corrupted, so they don't actually value solutions, right? They value the problem much more than the solution. They focus much more on the problem rather than the solution, and so you've got all these things that they worry about, all the the media, and you see New Zealanders going into another election this year in about 8 weeks, and they're doing the same thing they've always done, man. Everyone, the politicians, the media, and the public follow what processes they use to consider these things. And I just rang up the radio because they're talking about the opposition party. They've come up with this budget, right? And they're going to throw billions of this, and they're going to throw billions at that, and it's like, oh yeah. But it seems to me that's extremely short-term thinking, really, really short-term thinking, when actually the future is long-term, man. It's like, and we should be organising it from the perspective, we should be organising the budget from the perspective of how can the creators of wealth enable a better economy, whereby then you can have a better budget, right? Because the ultimate advice for budgeting is make more money, right? And so my question is that that is the ultimate answer to the budget, is have more money. But their focus, 0% of their focus is on creating more wealth. And with the strategies they're using to govern, they're actually ruining they're really altering significantly the means for the new generations coming into the workforce to be actually able to engage in the workforce. Because one is, corporatising businesses has shut lots of businesses down. The media culture is not availing wisdom or knowledge to be passed on to the younger generation by way of values. Okay, the values that they're getting is it's completely in line with the corporate ideology and the media, which is self-interested, always pushing for more growth, and you get all these ancillary systems connected with the corporate world and the political world, which is the legal world, the justice system, and the way the legal world operates. This is entirely in line with this lie that is predominant through the political sphere, which is these people that want to be in control, none of them create wealth. Okay, their whole political focus is to keep concealed the fact that they want to be in control of everyone else's money, and they want to make lots of money out of that. So you've got a lot of instances where the legislation and the regulations in central government is about actually, you know, I'd love to have a good old look, but a lot of it is about giving work to lawyers, creating work for lawyers, and doing things in that way, which really rolls back to this idea that they're the moral authority and they're in charge, and everyone has to do what they say, and so they are replicating the function of anxiety by doing that. And so to go out to promote what I've discovered, because at the moment none of them have an option. None of them have an option. They all have to be, that everyone is sucked into that perspective, man, and that way of doing things. And that's the discovery. It tricks everyone into being self-interested, and this whole minimal intellect thing, because of the language, because of the consequences of the first two laws, the whole intellectual thing, it's all gravitating that way. That's why it's gravitating all that way, and we can see that. Everyone can see that. Even the Muslims in London would agree with that. There's been this progression, this cultural progression in the last 20 odd years and beyond, and it's because of this instance that anxiety does not acknowledge courage, but courage does acknowledge anxiety. And so this is why, see, that's anxiety winning the vote 2-1, and that happens at the quantum level of thought, and that happens in central government and its relationship with the people. Because everyone is well wise to that, and that is the only way they can operate. Okay, so that's the thing. And so I will go out promoting the existence of an option. There is now an option, and everybody doesn't have to think like that. And so I'll be going around, and it's logistics, and it's all the costs with the logistics, and so to do a big tour, to get out and about and see people, because there's the media and the government and all the hangers-on, all the lawyers and all that. None of them, they will push back immediately, just like the radio did just now, because I said to them that with this budget thing that really, it's really short-term focus, just saying, oh, let's do the budget, and it's like, we should be thinking about how to configure the people that create the wealth, which is the new generation coming through. They are most highly important, man. To configure them to carry on and actually improve how we create wealth. Okay, so this is a very obvious example of how these that believe that anxiety is wisdom maintain their political position over the majority. Okay, and so in a political debate, discussion, my first statement will be, in a percentage, right? As a percentage, I would ask these you know, any person that is of that politic, okay, that's protecting the interests of anxiety being believed as wisdom, right? I would ask, how, out of a percentage, how much of society are wealthy people and how much of society are poor people? Okay, or you know what, poor equals lower middle class and down, and all of the middle class, right? All of them, because it's about empathy. Okay, and so I would ask this. I would ask what percentage of society is middle class and poor, and that's the amount of people. All the middle class and poor will take a great deal of notice of what I'm saying, and so that is the vote. That is the vote. That is the electorate. The electorate isn't these little places and who's the member for parliament of blah. It's not that at all. The actual members of the electorate that actually exist in the actual reality economy, which is courage and anxiety, these are two electorates, courage and anxiety. Believing anxiety is wisdom, believing courage is wisdom. And so the electorate of courage is actually massively bigger than the electorate of anxiety, massively. And so to go about these places, these poor areas, a lot of, man, there's so many people in the cities that would love this, and so I know I can overthrow the government with this revelation, and they can't challenge it. They can't challenge it because they have this public reputation of being all worried about issues and homeless and domestic violence and child abuse and youth crime, a lot of youth crime, and so they've got this public thing, so they have to acquiesce in a public setting. They have to listen to this, and they cannot escape. That is the fact of it, that boiled down, the whole of the way the world works is anxiety does not acknowledge courage, and courage does acknowledge anxiety. Everything has played out according to the relationship between courage and anxiety, right? Everything, right? And this is why religion's really credible, because it actually represents the political correctness of anxiety. And so this one hypothesis, actually, it is a unified theory which it ties everything together. It actually is one measurement that explains all of our activity, right? Because anxiety came at a time when it was the first thing on the hard drive, man. It was the very first thing known by the baby that had language. You know, well, the baby that didn't have language, the newborn baby, right? It only could think about things in terms of, you know, how consciousness understands things. And the fact is that anxiety has hijacked consciousness, okay? And so while anxiety has hijacked consciousness, it appropriates all of the cognitive power of consciousness as well. And so that's the general outlook of what I'm going to do. And this doesn't include actually writing it all down. I've gotten a bit speedy at typing because I've been doing a lot of typing in the last year or two, and so writing it all down, and I've nailed it down. And in the book, right, you're going to have the main central contention, right, which is the discovery that anxiety is a political entity comprised of 8 laws. And so there will be that. There'll be that, and that will be the central contention, and so that'll be the first thing, really, probably. And because we don't need reminding about what life is like, we don't need reminding about what society is like, and that's a tricky element of this book. Is actually while I've discovered this thing, right, that the 8 laws, the revelation of the 8 laws, actually everyone is 100% familiar with it. And that's the thing of it. Everyone is totally familiar with it, and so that's something that has to be factored into how to approach the composition, right? And so after that, I figured it out. It'll be, I'm going to put a chapter for every relationship, okay? Every relationship, right? Which really is all of the facets of the human experience, really everything. We have a relationship with everything. We have a relationship with a house. We have a relationship with a town. We have a relationship with the media. We have a relationship with our parents, our family, other people in our community, the places we go. You know, all of it is relationships, because your being is being relative to other beings, and things. And so crowdfunding is all of that. It's going about telling people about this, the senior poor areas in the country, and going overseas with it. Really, Australia would love to know this, because Australia's, you know, how they that believe that anxiety is wisdom and really hard sell it all the time. Okay, they are really dominant in Australia, really dominant, and it can be said that it mimics the event of anxiety in the mind, right? If the anxiety is present, usually it dominates the thinking, and it does it so well and so strongly that now this is the point of it. Everybody thinks it's fucking wisdom. That's how entrenched it is. You know, because we learn the high level, high quality examples as the first thing we ever experience as babies that don't learn language, you know, babies that don't possess language. And so I'm crowdfunding this because the world is being completely ruined by this. As per the potential of the sentient being in you, that, you know, as you know, we are likely to be the most amazing advanced life form in the universe. Now, I know that anxiety has told you all that we're some little insignificant planet in the back, way out in the backwater somewhere, you know, but that's just anxiety talking, right? We're actually probably the most advanced life in the universe, man. And all this huge expanse, what is it? They say 93 trillion light years across, they reckon. And I don't reckon. I reckon it doesn't end, eh? We're still likely to be the most advanced life in the universe. So the crowdfunding is game on, and that's what I'm going to do. It's just logistics to get around to talk to people, and resources to publish materials, printing, probably web development, website, and that's what I'm going to do. But you know, the having a couple of people on board, or one or two or whatever, as kind of virtual volunteers, and we'll do the whole operation. They'll be going about seeing people, as I've said, and there'll be the media side of it, which is printing, it's publishing. Okay, so there'll be a lot of publishing of materials to do with this, as per a different group's specific relationship to anxiety, and how they posture themselves against the community. Okay. So anyway, I've just finished by saying, for 2020, I think I want to start a political party for the 2020 election in New Zealand, right? And I am, I'm real familiar with the political system, the government, the whole deal, man. And so here is the things that I think would be really handy right now, because as noted by Labor's budget, it's real short-term thinking. So these are things that are about configuring the bottom, the new people, how to bring them all up, how to bring the whole lot of us up, right? Because it's real obvious that the political disposition of them that are in control is to protect their political position. It's just rubbish that, we shouldn't be, little street crime things on the news. This is not news, man. What is news is what is causing suicides. What is causing people that used to love each other to start hating each other. The reason for that is news to me. It's okay. So anyway, here's all the policies I think in a country like New Zealand with our economy. These will do the things to promote, to significantly promote the means of the people that create wealth to maintain that they keep doing so and even get better at it, right? Okay, here they go, here they are, here's my policies, right? Nationalise all supermarket activity. Creation of an upper house of government, which is the morality police, right? It is an overview of the interaction between the law, the legislation, the regulations, and the people, and how the people function. Okay, it's a matter of observation, because the effect the regulatory lot have on the people is not being observed by government or the media. And because of anxiety, the average person does not acknowledge that either. Okay, now we have a Treaty of Waitangi, and I think we need to create a Treaty of Waitangi 2.0. We need to rewrite it for specific observations, because it's a very vague fucking thing, because it's written 100 and something fucking years ago, and it doesn't bear any resemblance to the modern society. Okay, it needs to be rewritten for today and going forward. Okay, create a government bank that is run at cost for ethnic Kiwis only, right? Which is Maori and Pākehā, right? At cost, okay? No mortgages, right? No interest, right? At cost, because the government is supposed to care about the people. Hey, remember? That's their primary responsibility, is caring for the community and governance for the welfare of the community. And having a welfare state is not an interest of the welfare of the country. Okay, the family court system will be completely rebuilt. 100%. Because that is the black hole of anxiety, right? The family court. That is a real, mate, I'm very angry about the family court. Very angry about the family court. And I haven't been there, but I know the family court has caused a whole lot of suicides. And one year, the people going through the family court, there were 7,000 houses sold to pay the legal fees. Okay, well, 7,000 family homes is about 1,200 years of manual labour. It would take one person 1,200 years to create enough wealth to buy 7,000 homes, right? And that's how much the legal profession has robbed the community just from the family court, right? So completely reconfigure that, man. Okay, at the moment, the government decides the curriculum of schools and the paperwork regime to suit the schools. And they are playing serious head games with the education system. They really are. They really, really are. So I would think the law should be a headmasters committee will design school curriculum and the paperwork that goes with it. Okay, the headmasters committee will do that, right? Like hospitals and district health boards must be operated by senior surgeons and nurses. Okay, must. Okay, because the bureaucratic, anxiety worshipping accountants that have taken over the district health boards, right? Through disclosure, okay, this is about the Justice Department, speeding up the Justice Department by 900%, right? 900%. And that'll be the influence of awareness of the 8 Laws revelation on people. So crime will be reduced by that, right? It will be. Because a lot of the reasons people do crime, particularly violent crime, sexual crime, theft, is because they're putting anxiety before education and they don't value a plan. That's what happens when people who don't, that's what happens with people that don't value education. They have no ability to make a plan. They can't make a plan. You know what? Because anxiety has zero problem solving ability, and that's why people with anxiety can't actually do anything except replicate their anxiety. Okay, there was a big accident here in the mining where 29 miners were killed in an explosion, and it was because of corporate culture running down the relationship between the company and the miners, and running down the condition of the safety protocols and the safety equipment, and all of it coalesced in the deaths of these miners. And the corporate minded body that runs the mine, which is a government department practically, it is at least an NGO, yeah, they've just walked away from it, man. They have just walked away from it, and they have repeatedly disrespected mainly the wives and families of the dead miners. It's been really disgusting. So I'm going to be digging right into that, right? There was a group that wanted to build a monorail through one of our national parks, which is a really quite good idea. They will get the green light immediately, because it's been poo-pooed, you know, because the political optics of something like that is that anxiety looks stupid. And so they've banned that idea to protect the political status of anxiety as wisdom. That's why. Okay, investment properties will be almost illegal, and anyone who owns investment properties, they can have like 2, okay, because there's one trust that functions in this country that owns over 1,000, right? 1,000. So that'll be very much stopped. They operate all of our energy production as separate businesses, okay? And then they have this thing where you can go on this website and you can find out how much you can save if you swap energy companies, electricity suppliers. That is absolutely insane, because they're actually all still owned by the government. And to say that you can swap companies and save money while they're all actually mandated by the government, this is really anxiety at play, man. Playing silly buggers with numbers to get people to think it's important. So they'll be all renationalised. Water, okay, will become a very sensitive issue to the government, because at the moment you've got these one prominent ex-politician has bought the rights to bottle water just down the road here in Ashburton, you know, for like $2,000 a year, 2,000 a year, and they take for like fucking 2 million for like billions of litres of water, millions and billions of litres of water that they're selling for fucking, basically they're selling it for $2 a litre, okay? So they're getting millions of litres of water, selling it at like $2 a litre, and they're only paying $2,000 for the whole year. Mate, I'm very unhappy with that. Okay, there'll be forced disclosure of offshore wealth that is offshore and not taxed. Okay, and that all is just their whole game, is just this squirrel mentality of hoarding wealth. Okay, hoarding wealth, man. The way the economy works is the money goes round. If you hoard wealth, it takes strength out of the economy. And they're stealing because it's not being taxed, okay? So that's going to have to be looked into, man. There's these places called the Red Sheds, okay, the warehouse, and it imports stuff from Asia. And literally, when they started opening around the place, like thousands of family-owned businesses went out of business. These little small businesses, the little shoe shops, you know, all these main street businesses, they all got shut down, man. You know, because they had good quality products for prices that reflect the quality, and all you got with these warehouses is it's basically attacking the values of the middle class. It's lowering the values. So instead of paying like $40 for a screwdriver, okay, a high quality screwdriver, you can go to the warehouse and you can buy a whole set of screwdrivers for like $20, and you have to buy a whole set of them, because if you only bought one, they can't make enough money by selling one, and so they sell you this whole set. And you know, all I can think of is if you had to pay $40 for a screwdriver, you would really value it. Then you would really value what you would achieve with it, and their removal of that, okay, dilution of those values, the eradication of those values. This is the problem with the youth. Okay. It's that those values that go into your future, they're fucking gone, mate. They're gone. And that's real old news in New Zealand, right? That's real old news that's happened in New Zealand. Also, they've subdivided every fucking house in the major cities except Christchurch, and there's no fucking garages to do any work anymore. There's fucking none. So, and anyway, there's all sorts of industrial ideas I have regarding the ocean and spacecraft, single stage orbiter transport, right? To create new tax revenue, right? Okay, so they're just some things that I'm going to do in my election in 2020. They are the things they are the policies, man. They are the policies, man. You know, end of story, man. Because the future is a long, long, long time, and everyone keeps playing it right up close. The budget, man. The budget. You know, the government is supposed to represent the people. Well, the fact is that they believe they're their own political entity, and the media is its own political entity, and both of them are in competition with the middle class to maintain that they're better than us, and this is all reflecting the belief that anxiety is wisdom. So, with the mathematical means to prove that courage exists, consciousness exists, and this major feature of human culture is why we have problems, okay, I have the means to question them, to challenge them, and to prevail over them. Because, you know, there's a lot more poor people than there's the 99%. Okay, and the 1% seemingly are a bigger deal than all us. And this revelation of the 8 laws is the means to change the balance of power, man. And it's changing the balance of power because as the relationship to anxiety exists in the singular mind and in your singular relationship with your partner, with your children, with that interaction, right, the government is just copying that. Everything is being a replication of the function of anxiety because that's what people believe is politically credible, while the world thinks that anxiety is wisdom. So that's the short-term plan from the generous crowdfunding that might come, you know, and that's the greater vision I have. And I won't go into, because the video's going on now, I won't go into my portfolio of designs that I would gift to the country, man. I would gift these industries to be government industries because they are... Anyway, you can see what they might be like when you look at the significance, you know, how departed from conventional wisdom the revelation of the 8 laws is, theory of relativity 2.0, how removed from conventional wisdom that is. Well, that's how removed from conventional my portfolio is for the company. I would gift to the people of New Zealand if I was in government, and it would be of great joy. And in fact, I'll make a video, next video is about my company portfolio and the aspirations I have for the country that are entirely achievable. Yeah, so anyway, have a happy day.